Now streaming on Netflix, although I just am literally fresh from seeing this in the theater. This was a 1 week only theatrical release, is Glass Onion, which is the sequel to Knives Out from a few years ago. This is one of those things where it was kind of controversial, at least between the director and the studio, as to whether this would get a theatrical release at all. And the director, Rian sort of fought for it and got this sort of 1 week teaser theatrical release to some chain theaters before it hit Netflix. But as far as anybody is concerned who's hearing this from me, unless you're watching this really quickly after I've recorded it, is you're going to see this movie on Netflix. This is another mystery. This is billed on, at least the tagline on the poster for Netflix is Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. And it's not a sequel to Knives Out in any other way other than that it still features the same lead character, the same lead detective played by Daniel Craig with his sort of southern foghorn leghorn dialect, his foghorn leghorn accent there. And basically, I've heard a lot of people say, or some news sources say, you really should watch The Last of Sheila, this early 70s, semi-obscure but really well-regarded mystery film before you go see Knives Out or before you see Glass Onion, because it's sort of based on the same idea. I saw The Last of Sheila years ago and liked it. I haven't seen it in a long time, so it's not fresh in my memory. I don't know that it's necessary really to see that before you see Glass Onion. If anything, it might give some things away that you probably don't want given away. So I would say maybe the better bet would be to seek out a copy of The Last of Sheila after you've seen Glass Onion. And I would recommend that you see Glass Onion. It's, for me, see, I didn't think Knives Out was all that great. I thought Knives Out was okay, but I thought it was really kind of forced in many ways. And people really loved Knives Out. A lot of people really like it. That's great. It's good to have sort of like an intelligent all-star mystery movie in theaters again, which we don't get many of. And Glass Onion is another one of those. It's not a retread of the same thing. It's not the same style of whodunit. It's arguably, to my mind, a bit more complex. It keeps you guessing. I didn't really figure anything out about this film before it was revealed, but it all, I think, on replay, all totally makes sense. The all-star cast includes people such as, but not limited to, see, this is where doing it with no notes is a little harder. You've got Daniel Craig, as I said. You have Janelle Monae. You have a lot of people who are familiar. Let's put it, Edward Norton is in it. You have Kate Hudson is in it. And a lot more people whose names are not coming into my mind right now. So this feels like a theatrical movie. Again, I just saw this in the theater. This didn't feel like a cheap Netflix movie in the theater. This felt like a movie in the theater. So on Netflix, which is probably, again, how you're going to see this probably plays like a feature film that was in theaters, which it was for like a week. So anyway, basic premise. A group of very disparate individuals, all successful in their fields, receive these large puzzle boxes. When the puzzle box is cracked, it reveals an invitation to go to the private island of Edward Norton, who is sort of like a wealthy friend, super successful tech genius of all of theirs. And the idea is they're going to go to his home for a murder mystery weekend in which he is the victim. And as I like to say in these reviews, without really giving the plot away, things don't go quite as planned. So you have the Daniel Craig character there who's been invited as, the world's greatest detective or one of them. And then you have all these individuals who know him, and things go awry, things go askew, things go screwy, and he is there as the world's greatest detective to help figure out the mystery and get to the bottom of it before perhaps more than one person is found toes up before the end of the film. So it was very funny, very nicely shot, very nicely constructed, some good music in it. If to answer your question, is the Beatles song Glass Onion used on the soundtrack? The answer is yes. I'm not going to say where and when, but it is. And as a huge Beatle fan, it was kind of nice to hear that pumping through surround sound speakers in a theater in 2022. And it's got some other pretty notable pieces of music too here and there. It's got some in-jokes. It's got great use of the location, really nice location. And the cast is all a lot of fun. So I would highly recommend, if you like whodunits and if you liked Knives Out, I really hope they keep making these. I would like to see many more films, all unlike the other, where the Daniel Craig character finds himself embroiled in a mystery that he can help solve. I actually like these a lot more than the new Kenneth Branagh Hercule Poirot films. Those seem really kind of overblown and not very interesting to me. But Knives Out, while a movie I thought was okay, Glass Onion, I think, is a lot better. So I hope we do see more of these. I don't know what a measure of success is to try to make another one of these films. Historically, it was always theatrical revenue. And when you're only putting it in the theater for a week, it's kind of hard to judge on that. I don't know how you judge. I guess you can judge views on Netflix as to whether something is successful, but I don't know that you would get the bankroll that this film looks like it had if you did another one based on whatever the measure of success is now. So at any rate, if you can see this movie in a theater, everything's better in a theater. If you can watch it at home, pop up some popcorn, get a pizza, have some fun as you peel back the layers of the glass onion.